Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And as promised in our daily financial news, I had an extra special guest coming back at 10 a.m. So let's welcome Paul to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So if you don't know who Paul is my architect. He is one helping me get plans created and then ultimately approved in Fresno, California for the addition of an ADU. So Paul, I think we started our first conversation way back in August. It's hard to believe that this has been about, I don't know, let's call it 5 months. But we're in the process, right?
Yeah, slower than expected. So maybe we'll be hearing something here, probably not this week, because I imagine, the city during this week is probably not active, but we can look forward to maybe next week. So we'll see.
There you go. Really what I want people to realize is on this channel, one rental at a time, is I'm always sharing what I'm doing, trying to grow our portfolio. And Paul was gracious enough to work with us, actually share content on this channel. So I have a property on Pine that we bought that's kind of a perfect configuration, right? It's a corner lot. The original house was built on the back. There's this huge, I don't know, front yard, side yard, whatever you want to call it, actually ends on another street. That kind of made perfect sense to add an ADU. Is that kind of, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it is a perfect lot, and it's very unique, but it's perfect for this situation.
Yeah, and it was always one, even when I bought it back in 2010 or 11, I was like, eventually there's going to be a second home. Then California obviously created, I don't know if I want to call it incentives or streamline the ADU process. So I'm like, hey, let's give this a shot. So you actually helped us design the ADU. First off, I made a mistake because you came to me and said, Michael, I think the largest side was 1,250 square feet. And I'm like,
correct.
Good, design one of those. And then came back, was like, well, that's really expensive. And, that's a house, not really a mother-in-law setup.
Yeah.
So we changed it back. And now what did we design? Was 600 square feet, 650?
Yeah, it ended up being 600. It's basically a duplex combined 200-300 square foot.
Yeah. And who's the little puppy barking? We like puppies on the channel.
Yeah, that's Smokey. He's another guy just came in, so he's
saying hi.
Right.
Hi, Smokey. How are you? No worries about that. We like dogs on the channel. I usually have dogs running by my feet, so it happens. Yeah. So now we have a 600 square foot. It as configured. It's going to be a 2-bedroom. Is it 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath?
It could be. It could be 2 bedrooms. Well, right now it's 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and then a living room. So, but it could be configured in, multiple 3 bedrooms. If you use just the half, which is where, it could be a half of the building. Right. The kitchen kind of becomes a combo living room. It's a true tiny house, but as it is, it's really more of a residence.
Yeah, yeah, it's as configured. It's a 2-1. Because again, what I loved about the design we put together is it could really be it could be a duplex, right? If we just closed off the center, it could be 2 kind of smaller homes. But because of where this will be put in, it has to be a house, a true in-law unit. And again, so at that point, we approved it. 600 square feet is something, I got bids from builders, something we could do. It also is of size where we could build them off-site and move in, right? Is that something we talked about?
Yeah, and it was designed, as 2 halves, so they could be brought in separately as 2 units and then, bolted together.
Yeah, just bolted together.
Wanted to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I always envisioned with the design, should it work, was, what? Eventually we could go get land and build these on purpose. We tried that on another lot I own. I didn't like the numbers that came back from the city, so we scrapped that 6 or 9 or whatever it was house area. But I still want to build this. So at this point, you did an architectural rendering. We submitted it to the city, I want to say in late September.
Yeah, well, a full set of construction documents to build from, but it has to go through what's called a zone clearance for ADUs.
Okay. All right.
Which typically isn't done in houses. If you build like a residence, single family residence, as long as you're within the setbacks and all the requirements of the city, you don't go through zone clearance. But an ADU is a special section. It's it's newer. And the city of Fresno has, like a lot of other cities, has a new process, and it's all online. It goes through their system. So you submit online, and then it goes through the different departments. So that's what we're waiting. We had to submit a separate zone clearance we submitted construction documents, but also a zone clearance. So they make sure that you're not causing problems in the neighborhood. And your location, it's like Willamette, something like development from a long time ago, and it's changed, and even the street names have changed, and some went through and now don't. And it's so, but a lot of those old parcel things are still valid. They're things that you still have to deal with. So that's part of the zone clearance.
So at this point, from my perspective, and again, I'm wrong, just tell me, basically we've done everything from our side. We've given the city what they've asked for. We're literally just waiting for a series of departments to say yes or no, or to ask questions. Is that kind of where we are?
That's pretty much it. It goes to all the departments that have and actually a lot more. A lot of times you'll just get no comment from different departments. I think they just send it to everybody.
Okay.
But 10% of them might comment on it, and the other 90% might just say no comment. But I guess they have to have everybody look at it.
So again, forgive me because these might be silly questions, but I don't want. Does it go like? Is it a shotgun? Does it goes out to, I'll just say 10 departments because I don't know how many they are, and then they all respond over time, or is it serial? Like it goes to Department A and then Department B and then Department C?
Yeah, it goes out to all of them, and then they respond. They have a time limit, which we should have been past the time limit now. But sometimes, right now, the city is so buried. They kind of go past their time limits a little bit.
It's one of the things that I actually researched, and I could be wrong, but I thought one of the things that Gavin Newsom, governor of California, signed was a time limit for ADU approval. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I read fake news for all I know.
Well, it's possible, and I don't know. That'd be something to look into. I haven't taken the time to look into that, but it might be worth doing. So.
Yeah, because I thought there was something like they had 90 days, and if they don't approve, it's an automatic yes or something. But again, that could be fake news. But basically, we have to be near the tail end of this because I think it's been like 110 days at this point.
Well, it's come along long enough for SB9 to come into effect on January 1st, and
there you go.
And you can build even more than what you could with an ADU with SB9. So I haven't done an SB9 project. Obviously, it doesn't even come into effect until the beginning of the year. But
so that's actually a good question. Let's branch there. What does in theory, right? Let's assume I came to you January 1st, same lot, same everything. What does SB9 potentially allow us to do on that same lot? Anything different?
Yeah, it allows you to build, I haven't looked at your specific situation, and I haven't really fully looked at SB9, but as an example, I have another project that I did for another client. We did a mid-century modern on Barstow, and they were going to do the exact same building itself in Old Fig. Now with SB9, and it's been a couple of years they've had the lot and they haven't done anything. They're just waiting. And then since SB9's come along, they've thought about maybe doing it as a pair of duplexes, which would be allowed on that lot now, and as opposed to a single family residence. So
let me ask.
It'll allow. The idea is, we have
housing.
We need housing badly. It's turning single family residences into more condensed uses. And there's debate on those, but realistically, it's allowing people to get value for their land that owns single family homes and providing housing for others too.
So I'm going to ask a silly question. If you don't know, that's okay. In theory, SB9 might actually allow us to use this configuration as a duplex, a legit duplex versus house.
I believe so. I'm not sure about this exact situation, but that's in theory, yes.
So what do you think needs to change for us to go, hey, any chance we can make this a duplex instead of a house, same architectural design? Or is that just like a whole new process?
I'd have to review the SB9 language. I just haven't had a chance to do that. But
I think that's something that we should at least consider, right? Because my construction cost will probably be slightly higher because now you have 2 kitchens versus 1. But it was always my vision is to have that be a duplex. Because again, it's the lot is kind of perfect for it. The house is so set back. It's got this just seemingly just a huge lot. It'd be great to have that be a duplex, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great location. And I'm doing a wedding facility out in Madera County in just off 41. And I actually did a kind of a preliminary kind of layout, taking this exact building times 30 on this 40-acre property where
Nice.
they're going to do a wedding facility and their single family residence, and showing that they could even do housing for the wedding facility. And
Nice.
it's near where the casino's going to be also. And so I think there are options for that too, for this type of, and like, you know, when we first talked about doing that process with Brad, you know, doing a community of these.
Yeah.
And that was going to be 44 units, I believe. So right off of 99.
Yeah. So I think there's something here. I think maybe the delay is going to let us slide into SB9 and allow us to, oh, look at that. Now it's a duplex.
Right.
So we shall see if we get lucky. So
yeah, I'm curious what happens through all that. So.
Yeah. So maybe we'll check in middle of January, end of January, see where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, if it's already taken 5 months, frankly, if it took us an extra month, but we got the end result of a duplex, I think that actually can be called a win. Because again, a single family home, just so people know the numbers, as configured, it'll probably cost me 100 to 120 grand to build. You know, that's just the materials, labor, not including lot value. I already own it. It'll probably rent for, as a new house, maybe $1,000 as a 2. As a duplex, it's probably roughly the same cost because we're not changing the design at all. We're actually removing a wall, but adding, I guess we would add a wall and add a kitchen, but not the footprint doesn't change. So cost maybe go up 5 grand, but rents will probably go 1,400 maybe, right? 700 aside. So again, it makes a lot of sense as a duplex. And then we created 2 units versus 1. So I think there's a lot of upside with the design you've created. So I still love the design. I just need the city to do something.
You know, it might even allow for, you know, the duplex, the double being built twice on that same lot. You know,
so we could build theory 2 of those, perhaps.
It's possible. I just haven't looked into it, but I think that's the idea is, you know, not to get too carried away with cramming buildings on lots, but, you know, with some kind of regulation, having, using available spaces as efficiently as possible.
Yeah. And again, I think this lot's kind of perfect for it. Cause again, otherwise right now you've got like 75 or 80 feet of just yard. It's like, what's the use in that? So, yeah. So again, this is a lot of fun. I wanted to share, I wanted to connect with you, say Happy New Year. Again, I think this is something my channel will enjoy as we finally get approval and build it. It will be interesting if the delay actually turns out to be a good thing, because I'd love to make it a duplex. So, you know, fingers crossed. But we'll connect in January sometime and see where we're at.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
If somebody wanted to do something in Fresno, because my channel is pretty heavy in Fresno, and they wanted to reach out and talk about an ADU, how do you want them to reach out to you for architectural design and process and things like that?
Could go to my website, thevernalgroup.com, and there's a button there. You could submit a question with your phone number, and I'll get back to you.
Very cool.
And your email address.
Can you spell Vernal Group for them?
Yeah, that's V as in Victor, ERNALGROUP.com.
Very cool. Folks, do yourself a favor. He's a great communicator, follows up, great designs, takes feedback. He's the kind of guy you want to work with. If you're looking to do any projects in Fresno, you need to reach out to Paul at the Vernal Group. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Here's
Smokey. Yay. Yeah. Hi, Smokey. How old is Smokey?
He's about 6.
Yeah, I have a 6-month-old puppy and a 4-month-old. So yeah.
Great.
Lots of energy.
Yeah, puppies are cool.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Paul.
All right. See ya.